Hello, welcome to Clay to Canopy, the show where I attempt to make just about everything from the ground up. And welcome to the Don't Wake the Dragon Interior Makes series. Today I am going to be working on the coziest, perhaps the coziest, most warmest bit of this dragon. I'm going to be working on the quilted blanket to accompany the mattresses. I spent some time mapping out what I wanted the quilt to be, and I have come up with this design. Now I did not go in and draw all of the slash marks, but I do have it kind of numbered out in my, this is basically a chart for myself. So the tick marks I wanted to draw your attention to are these lines above. I am going to have this sort of slanted pattern of each one of these squares. The trees, the moon, the crow, the cat, and the dragon are going to be applique that will get placed on top of the quilt. So what I need right now to focus on is creating all of these back section. I am modeling this quilt after a full-size comforter. So my dimensions that I'm going with are 70 by 90. The New England Sun Porch quilt was more of a throw size. So this is going to be pretty massive. This dragon is 30 inches from tip to tip. The tallest tree here is also 30 inches. This will be the second largest quilted item I will have made in my lifetime. Only other largest one would be the queen comforter for my bed that I have just finished. And that took me 4 years. So wish me luck, because I'm gonna hope that I can get this thing done in a reasonable time. I've given myself the July deadline. It is February 7th. That's 6 months. I'm hoping to get this done in 6 months. Let's hope it doesn't take me 6 months to cut all of this fabric. So, yeah. I have been going through my scrap bins of the leftover fabric, and I've been cutting up my pieces. I made myself a little template. Have a piece of cardboard that I made a template. After making a few cuts last night, because I did this very tiredly on the couch, I realized that there was a direction, and I had to write the word up because I mistakenly cut one going the wrong way, and I thought, oh, they'll all be the same no matter which way I flip it. Unfortunately, that is not true. I have 20 spaces going across from end to end. I plan to alternate 2 fabric types in each of the strips. That means I need 10 of each, but then this line will be going in the opposite direction. And I am praying that I have 28 different fabrics here for me to use. I am going with lighter tones because I do not want to contrast with the blacks. I'm hoping that I have enough of each pattern. Whatever I don't have, I'm gonna have to go back to Joann's and try and find. And a lot of these patterns are not available anymore because I've been building this dragon for over 1.5 years. And I also started collecting the fabric about 6 months prior to the beginning of building this dragon because I knew it was coming. We're gonna see how it goes. I had been hand cutting these on the couch. I suspect this will be much faster. Okay, maybe not. If I don't cut up the freaking cardboard. Okay, I can do one of 2 things. I can make one of these out of plastic so that I could use this, or I can trace these as I was doing while I was sitting on the couch and cutting them with scissors. What shall I do? Part of me feels like I should continue this first method. I know the other way would be faster, but what ends up happening when I do it the other way is sometimes my pieces are not always that great. I end up moving so fast that each piece can become slightly off. And on that note, I will see you all sometime next February, or the February after that, or the February after that. It has taken me quite some time to deal with the cutting of these pieces. I have spent some time sorting them and matching colors to how I wanted them to go. And it's just gonna be basically me sewing up strips, sewing up strips, sewing up strips, and deal with just the background block. So I'm gonna get to it. I got a lot of sewing to do. So, trying to work out on layout of the quilt, and this is the problem I've been running into. So, yeah, my strips are sewn, and I'm gonna have to figure something out because this little peanut wants to attack the strips and eat them, as you can see. So my next move is to work this all out and stitch up these strips into one solid panel, and then I will have a quilted top background ready to go for applique stuff that's going to happen. If I can get these bits away from, this is only half, the whole pile over here that I haven't even gotten to, and yeah, I put out fabric and the cats come. Anyway. I'm going to get on with attempting to rescue this fabric from this little peanut butter and stitch up all of these strips together, and when next we meet, hopefully I will have a solid panel. Maybe. Maybe. I am beginning the applique process. Finished up that background, which was what this pattern here is and behind me, and I'm beginning to get all of the appliques ready to apply onto this backdrop. I used the Cricut to cut out the crow and the cat since they were smaller. All I did was take some black fabric and I put some of this light bond on the back of it, threw it onto the Cricut mat board, and had it cut both of those pieces. So these are ready to go to have the backing peeled off, heat set where they're gonna go, and then I can top stitch to seal them off. For the dragon, it was too large. I had a really large piece that I needed. It was much larger than that would fit inside the Cricut. So I had to break up my pattern into a couple pieces. I cut up the heat bond, put it on my mat board directly into the Cricut, had it cut the heat bond. So I just temporarily taped it up with some masking tape, rematching my pattern. So I can basically just heat set this directly onto my fabric and then cut out the fabric and I'm good to go. Now I am going to be using this silky fake satin and the holy fabric for just the dragon, so that I'll have that black primarily, but this fabric tends to fray very easily. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat set this on, and then I will put the layer of the holy fabric over it, pin it up, and then I'm going to go around the edges, basically make a giant patch kind of thing, and seal up the edges so that I don't have to deal with fraying before I go ahead and put this and heat set it onto the quilt. I'm going to cut out the head and tail template out of paper so I know where to do my top stitching. I'm just going to come in with some green, iridescent green thread and stitch the outline of the head and the tail, and then that way it'll lock things into place and it'll give me a little bit of definition. I pulled it up on the computer and the Cricut software. This is butcher block paper that I got from IKEA. Yes, full grown mini. Full grown mini. Hey, you, I was busy. You want to sleep on your blowforge? Yeah. Go ahead. Oi. Dang it. I'm gonna tape it down, Bug. I do appreciate the fact that the Glowforge always gives you a time for how long things are gonna take. The one thing that you'd never know with the Cricut. I decided it would be just easier to trace this on the back so I can use the pen. And of course, the chalk was not showing up on the other side. I'm going to throw in a running stitch in white and gold because why not? Because I have gold fed into this bobbin. I don't have any white on a bobbin. I need to be able to see this stitch. So that way I can flip it over and do a zigzag stitch in the green. Not liking the bunching I'm feeling. It's a good thing it was just a quick running stitch. I'm gonna pull this one and try that again. Change of plans. I pinned the pattern onto the top. This bane of my existence, holy fabric, of course, is problematic as always. So I am going to just follow along the side of the paper pattern. I love the look of this holy fabric. It just has been a very big chore to work with. Alright, let's see where that got me. I think this is a much better than what happened earlier. Question is whether or not I can freaking see the lines. Yeah, I think I can see them enough. I'm gonna go over this whole thing with a zigzag stitch. This would be so much easier if I could do it on the back side. I spent some time last night cutting up a bunch of fabric, all the strips for the trees, and I also cut up templates for them out of the light bond, and then I cut up the strips for the border, which took some time. It's basically my couch activity to do. So right now I am stitching up tree stacks. Once they get stitched up like this, I will iron them flat and then attach light bond. In the case of these, I'm not going to do this thing where I double stitch the edge for fraying. I did it for this dragon because honestly this whole double thing is a pain in the butt, but since these are all cottons, they should give me a nice clean edge, so I will come in and do a fold over so I will end up with a clean edge before I go ahead and stitch these trees down. The applique for the cat and the crow, because of the weird shape, it would have been way too difficult to try and go around and do a fold over. These two will be treated just like the dragon with the extra stitching around the edges to lock things in place. I'm going to continue stitching up my piles. I've just been matching up to eyeball in the center, and I've given myself a 1/2 inch seam allowance. You know, I think all of the prep work, this is so true with so many freaking crafts and so many making things. The prep work takes 20 times longer than the actual making. Look how quickly I'm stitching this, but it took me forever to prep and cut all of the fabric to get these ready to go. I'm attempting to do layout, and as you can see, I have some helpers who are not exactly letting me deal with my layout. But this is gonna look freaking amazing when it's done. I am super stoked. Yeah. So next up is I'm just going to, if I can get this away from the bebes, I'm gonna iron these spots where they land, and then I can top stitch from here before I deal with any of the borders. I decided it's gonna be much easier if I get the applique on the top sheet before I deal with layering anything else, before, you know, putting the batting in and the backing and all that. And of course these still have 3 strips of layers. I have a black, a white, and a gray border layer to go around the whole thing, which will make it much more close to twin size. Alright y'all, here is where things stand. I am super excited with where this is landing right now. I have all of my pieces cut for the border, and I'm going to be doing a black edge to box it all in, a white edge after that, and then finishing it up with this corduroy. I did have corduroy to put along the back, but unfortunately somehow when I was making the mattresses I accidentally cut the wrong piece, which is probably for the best, because the more I think about it, the corduroy is going to be super hot. So I have a ton of that black fabric left over that was supposed to be for the exterior of the Dragon. So I will back it with a cotton, much lighter weight when it's done. So I just need to knock this out. I've got to get it done. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin up my sides, get these things stitched on, because it's basically just piecing together all of the edges. So let's get to work. Alright y'all, my quilt is finished. I am desperately trying to get the whole thing in shot, but obviously I knew this was going to happen the moment I laid it out. Thanks! So let's take a pan. It's a little bit hard to get it all, but there she is. I'm super excited. We're in the middle of a massive heat wave. It was 108 in my car yesterday. I cannot imagine what the interior of the Dragon is like right now. This is not going to make its way in until the final video, which will be the video after this, where I load everything back into the Dragon. Cats, man, y'all, cats. I'm really happy with this one. I think might be my favorite quilt. Might be my favorite, like, ever quilt. Alright y'all, I'm going to call this one here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you have not done so already. Stick around to catch the very last video of the completion of this project. And remember, don't wake the Dragon.